Now let's talk about governance and the youth. This is a year that a lot of countries in Africa are conducting elections, which means that the destinies of close to about more than 40 to 50 million people are going to be decided. How do you see the governance landscape on our continent on a scale of 1 to 10? From the last 5 years.
Well, in terms of
good governance,
good governance,
good leadership.
Well, I should like to think that Africa has come of age.
Okay.
What I want to applaud African governments is the participation of young people in these political offices. I think for us, Zimbabwe just had the elections in the recent plebiscite that took place on the 23rd of. What you see is young people taking political positions. But what we would also want to see is African government to allow young people to take political space. Because if you look at a lot of the constitutions of African governments, what you find is it excludes young people. Where you find if it's the office of the president, it's for people that are 40 years plus. And what that does is young people are excluded from that office. What we would want is maybe a revision of those constitution to
so
also.
In other words, you are saying that a young person below the age of 40 should be able to become president.
That's what I think, because I think young people have got the energy to
do
so.
Where would the governance skills, management skills, and all of those things come from? I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, governance of what's the population of Zimbabwe?
About 15 million.
15.
Yeah.
And by the age of 35, what sort of even if you have been to Harvard, what sort of experiential skills, competencies would a young person be able to have to make that person become a president? I mean, member of parliament, yes, would agree with you. I mean, but for a president, that's a tall order, isn't it?
And for judges as well.
Sorry?
Judges, I think they also say the same about judges, that if you are below a certain age, you cannot become a judge.
Yeah.
Well, I should like to think that they should be somewhere where they should fit in terms of presidium. They may not be the president.
Absolutely. I mean,
they may not be the president.
Yes.
But I think if we say young people are the future leaders, then let's allow them to also come on board in terms of getting the experience. They can only get the experience by living it.
Yeah, but I like your concept of youth parliament, for example, which is a critical component of your program, which is good. And the question I would ask is, how are you making this kind of concept an integral part of your program, such that you have specific programs that help young people to acquire good leadership skills and all of that? Is it just a concept, or where every year people have elections, young people have elections, and then they mirror the main parliament and what have you, rather than having a major program that instills discipline, civic education, national responsibility, leadership on the young people? Is there a system, a program like that? How do you go about it?
Yes.
Rather than just the election?
So what we've done is we've engaged development partners like UNICEF in terms of doing an assessment of how this has impacted. But what I want to assure you is those that have come through the ranks of the junior parliament, I can attest that they've become very good leaders in whatever they've gone on to do.
Right.
So we've also lobbied. I've spoken about the upcoming National Youth Act, which is a bill as we speak. What we want is also to ensure that resources are given to these young parliamentarians during their tenure of office, so they leave a legacy. Okay. So, for instance, if a young person who is an MP or a junior minister of sport sees that in their community they lack sporting facility, there should be some form of resources that are given to them for them to be able to also contribute to that. But what we do is we try and expose them very much to different institutions that then capacity build them and prepare them for the leadership skills. Before they inaugurated as junior MPs, they have a whole period which they go through, in terms of leadership capacity building. So we have different stakeholders that come on board. That equip these young people with the kind of leadership.
Are you a product of the junior parliament yourself?
No, not exactly. Not exactly. I'm not a product of one, but I've actually enjoyed my tenure to see how these young people have grown up to become very successful politicians, business leaders, world business leaders as well.
I see.
Yeah.
So are you collaborating with the faith-based institutions, the Christians, the Muslims, in the implementation of some of your programs? In other words, do faith-based institutions have any role in shaping the future of the young people?
They do play a critical role. I think.
And how are you collaborating with them?
As I have alluded to, we have had, I think the cousin to COVID-19 is drug and substance abuse as a scourge for us as a nation.
Right.
And what you find is we need discipline, and the faith-based institutions play a critical role in terms of bringing the kind of discipline that we would want in our young people. So as Youth Council and as Ministry of Youth, we feed the government of Zimbabwe has come up with a national task force, a committee, and we fall under the demand reduction pillar where faith-based institutions are. So our idea is to make sure that we bring the messages to the young people that depending on drugs is very detrimental to their health. So this is the word that is being spread by faith-based institutions. Also, I think faith-based institutions in Zimbabwe are very critical in terms of providing education. You'll find most of these schools that are in Zimbabwe are mission schools. And we work with them in terms of giving out projects, in terms of disciplining the young people.
Interesting.